The ambush came fast, too fast for any unit to regroup. Marines scrambled behind jagged rocks as enemy fighters closed in from 3 ridge lines at once, rifles flashing through the blinding dust. "We're outnumbered," someone shouted, voice shaking over the chaos. There was no backup, no air support, no visibility. Then a single crisp shot echoed from high above. One hostile collapsed. Another shot, another body fell. A silent marksman, whom none of them had noticed, had entered the fight and was changing everything. The ambush. The Marines had been escorting a supply convoy through a narrow mountain pass in eastern Afghanistan when the first barrage struck without warning. It was 0847 hours on a Tuesday morning in late September. Dust exploded upward violently as rounds hammered the rocky ground from 3 directions simultaneously, forcing the convoy to halt immediately in the worst possible position. 4 armored vehicles stopped in a tight defensive formation in the middle of the kill zone. Marines poured out rapidly, seeking cover behind rocks and vehicle frames. Team leader Staff Sergeant David Michaels shouted orders over the deafening gunfire. "Cover left. Watch your sectors. Get the wounded behind cover now. Medic up." They were skilled, disciplined, and battle-tested, but even the best Marine unit buckles when surrounded by triple their number in prepared defensive positions. Dozens of enemy fighters emerged from caves and rock formations, perhaps 50 or more. High ground dominance, overlapping crossfire positions, and perfect interlocking kill zones designed to trap vehicles gave the enemy a brutal tactical advantage. One Marine yelled desperately into his radio handset, "We need air support now," requesting immediate CS. But the comms were completely jammed, nothing but static roaring through every headset. Electronic warfare and planned communication disruption. The situation grew worse by the second. Enemy rounds pinged off rocks with sharp metallic cracks. Dust-choked lungs and blood stained the sand. They huddled behind disabled vehicles, scanning desperately for an escape route as the kill zone tightened like a noose. "They're pushing right flank hard. Cover the medic." Michaels assessed the situation with combat-hardened eyes. Ammunition was running critically low, with some Marines down to 2 magazines. 3 wounded needed immediate evacuation, and no extraction was available. They were minutes from being overrun completely. The unseen ally. They didn't know help was already watching from high above. On a higher cliff, half hidden by shadows and jagged stone outcroppings, someone lay prone behind a rifle, steady as bedrock. There were no visible insignia on her gear, no unit markings, and no team radio chatter. Just one person with a high-powered scope and a practiced, intentional silence. Her finger rested lightly on the trigger, calm, precise, controlled. She adjusted for wind speed, blowing dust, distance, elevation, and her own heartbeat. Her breathing slowed to a rhythmic 4 count. Through her scope, she identified enemy squad leaders by their hand signals and mentally mapped the firing positions in 3 dimensions. "It's time," she murmured quietly to herself. She took the first shot. The Marines were still locked down when the first hostile dropped. A clean, centered shot straight through the ridge leader's chest. He fell backward off the rock like a puppet with cut strings. "Who fired that?" a Marine corporal whispered urgently. No Marine could have hit that angle from their current positions. The geometry and elevation were entirely wrong. Another enemy fell seconds later, collapsing forward. Then another, spinning as he dropped. Then 2 more in rapid succession, both headshots. The Marines peeked up cautiously from cover, watching shadows collapse one by one as if something invisible were systematically ripping the enemy formation apart with surgical precision. An enemy squad of 5 tried to flank her position through a narrow ravine. She shifted her rifle 3 degrees left and eliminated all 5 with 5 single shots in under 8 seconds. "That's impossible shooting," a Marine whispered in disbelief. "Those are moving targets at 700 meters minimum." "No, that's not impossible," another murmured with growing respect. "That's world-class precision marksmanship." For the first time since the ambush began, the Marines had room to breathe. Confusion spread among the hostiles as they fell one by one, unable to locate the silent threat. They started shouting frantically in Pashto, breaking formation, and abandoning their prepared positions. The marksman's calm, measured tone drifted down from the cliff, barely audible over the wind. "Push forward now. Left ridge is clear." Michaels blinked in shock. Who the hell is she? But the Marines listened without question. Training took over. They pushed forward cautiously, using her precise shots as cover fire, moving into better tactical positions. The tide had turned completely. Shadow 3. The Marines cleared the immediate kill zone and regrouped behind a slope of large boulders. We need to get eyes on that shooter, Michael said firmly. They advanced up a narrow switchback trail, cautiously navigating loose stone. As they climbed higher toward the shooting position, they noticed the flawless textbook sniper craft. Each shell casing was perfectly placed in small, organized piles. There were no wasted shots, no sloppy movement patterns, and every firing position was precisely chosen for maximum coverage with minimal exposure. Whoever she is, she's better than any sniper I've trained with in 15 years, a Marine whispered. They finally reached the elevated ridge. She was still there, lying prone behind her rifle, adjusting windage dials as if she were relaxed after a morning jog. She didn't look at them. She simply said calmly without turning, "You're late." Michael stepped forward respectfully. "Ma'am, are you with the Army, the agency Marine Recon? Who's your command element?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed 2 fingers toward a distant ridge approximately 1,000 meters away. 3 more hostiles positioned there in the cave opening at 11 o'clock. "I'll drop them now. You advance when they panic and break cover." Before they could process the command, she fired. 1, 2, 3. All 3 distant targets collapsed simultaneously. "Move now," she said without emotion. They moved instantly, trusting her completely. Only when the remaining hostiles were completely neutralized and the valley fell into eerie silence did she finally stand, slinging her rifle across her back. "Who are you?" Michaels asked again. She dusted gravel from her tactical gloves. "Classified," she said simply. "You're with JSOC? Special Activities Division?" One Marine guessed. She didn't confirm or deny. She just scanned the horizon. "Your extraction bird is inbound," she said matter-of-factly. "Be ready in 10 minutes. Grid coordinates already transmitted." The radio on Michael's vest suddenly crackled to life. "Shadow 3, acknowledge mission status." She tapped her concealed comm unit. "Shadow 3, mission complete. Friendly forces secure. 0 friendly Kia, 3 wounded, stable." Every Marine froze at that call sign. Shadow. A code name whispered in classified training rooms but never spoken on official record. Operators who didn't exist on paper. Missions that never happened. "You're that Shadow?" Michael swallowed hard. "The one from the Karengal operation 2 years ago?" She gave no verbal answer. "How long have you been up here?" a Marine asked quietly. 72 hours, she said simply. "Alone?" "Yes. I've been tracking enemy movement for 3 days." The implication sank in slowly. She had been in position for 3 full days, alone, protecting them without anyone knowing. When the extraction helicopter arrived, Michaels leaned out the open door against the rotor wash. "You're not coming with us?" She shook her head once. "I have another ridge to clear in this sector." "Do you have support?" "The team?" "Back up." "I am the support." "Ghosts in the core." The helicopter lifted off heavily, dust swirling violently beneath the powerful rotors. As the Marines rose into the air, they saw her silhouette shrink against the jagged rocks below, small, silent, and unshakable. "We wouldn't be alive without her," a corporal murmured. Michaels whispered the truth that weighed heavy in every Marine's chest. "She wasn't supporting us. We were accidentally in her operational zone. She was already here." Back at Forward Operating Base Leatherneck, word spread fast through unofficial channels. The story grew, repeated with reverence and respect. Intelligence officers asked detailed questions, but most of it was classified above Michael's clearance level. Files were sealed immediately and reports were heavily redacted. Miles away, on a distant ridge unseen by all, she prepared a new firing position. Her radio crackled. "Shadow 3 new tasking. Enemy movement detected grid November 74. High-value target confirmed in sector." She adjusted her scope for the new distance and checked her ammunition count. "Copy. Moving to position. 30 minutes. No complaints, no questions, no hesitation. Just mission acceptance." Michaels wrote in his after-action report, "Unknown friendly sniper provided critical fire support during ambush. Estimated 20+ enemy Kia. Recommend identification for commendation and medal." The response came back stamped in harsh red ink. Classified. No further inquiry authorized. He understood immediately. Some heroes don't get medals. Some warriors don't get recognition. Some protectors work in silence by necessity and choice. And that was exactly how Shadow 3 preferred it.